Welcome to Parenting How Not to Suck. If you clicked on this video, that means already that you do not suck because you're thinking about your parenting, you care about your family, you want to have more fun with this job that we have for 20 plus years, even 40. So I'm so excited today to have my friend Olivia Bergeron. Olivia is a psychotherapist, a parent coach, a speaker, and a mom to three. She founded Mommy Groove Therapy and Parent Coaching to help parents navigate the huge changes that have come with having a child. Whether parents are experiencing a sense of overwhelm, stress, and anxiety during or after having a baby, or they've run out of ideas on how to manage their toddlers or big kids' tantrums, Olivia has worked with parents for almost 20 years to find a way to stop yelling and start connecting. She loves to help moms parent in a way that they're proud of. Welcome, Olivia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we all, even with all of our training, as I'm a school teacher, you're a psychotherapist, we think before we have children, oh, we should know this. We should get this. And my experience was I didn't know anything, right? We know some things, but every child is so different that it just comes with things that you're just like, wow, this is different than I thought it was going to be, right?
Absolutely. And I think oftentimes when folks come into it with a certain set of expectations, inevitably it doesn't play out that way.
Yeah.
And that can lead people to hit a wall because, oh, it's supposed to be this way. And why is it not? What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And so that precipitates a lot of issues, let's just say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to start this chat on YouTube is that I want people to know there's nothing wrong with you. It's one of the most important jobs in the world. And it's challenging, especially when you want to do it well. When you're hitting that wall and you're like, what am I doing wrong?
That's the thing. I think oftentimes parents feel like I have to be perfect or I'm failing. It's very black and white. There's this dichotomy of if I don't hit it out of the park every time, if I don't say the perfect thing, somehow I'm a bad mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm letting my kids down. And it's just entirely inaccurate.
Absolutely, because perfection doesn't exist, right? No, it just doesn't. Not. And we have to make those mistakes, and our kids see us make those mistakes, and they can see us then repair those mistakes.
I think that's exceptionally valuable for kids to witness that, because otherwise, if we're modeling to our kids that when we're not perfect, we self-flagellate, we beat ourselves up, and look how they feel. They look to us, we are the most perfect people they know.
Exactly.
And obviously, we're not perfect. For them, we set the standard. And if for us as parents, as mothers, we feel like we're falling short or failing, we're bad people, they're going to feel the same way because they will make mistakes all the time, as we do. And you can guarantee that when they do make those mistakes, they're going to feel like they're bad kids.
Yeah. And none of us want that.
Absolutely
none of us want that. So let me start with, I always love to start with the story. You have your psychotherapy practice, but you decided to move and add the parent coaching piece. So how did that all come about?
Yeah. So I was a psychotherapist and then I had my daughter when she was 2, my twins were born.
What?
So after that point, light dawns on Marblehead. Parents needed a lot of support that they're just not getting. And so I really oriented my practice as a therapist towards helping parents. And then after a time, people would come to me saying, I'm doing well. I don't feel anxious anymore, or I feel like things are under control. But my kid is tantruming and I don't know what to do. Or I know what not to do, but I don't know how to handle these challenges. Or I'm not on the same page as my partner. My partner does it one way. We handle things very differently, and that's creating conflict. Yeah. Or I swore up and down I wouldn't do this thing that my parents did to me, they said to me. And lo and behold, when I'm tired, when I'm stressed, out that thing pops out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Which creates a lot of frustration and a lot of guilt and shame. And so people end up in this spiral of, like I said, self-flagellation, where they just feel like they're messing this up.
Yeah.
And so I went and became trained as a parent coach to be able to give people guidance, not only for their own mental health and their own well-being, but also to help them figure out the best ways to parent their kids so that they could parent in a way they're proud of, as I say.
Yes.
I just find that when you feel that you've got that North Star, when you feel you have that sense of calm and ability to handle things, whatever gets thrown at you, it creates the sense of peace that really ripples out to your entire family.
Absolutely. Families are like living systems, right?
100%.
Making a small change in one area affects the rest of the system. I explained to my parents, think of it like the cogs, the wheels that are all attached, right? You oil one of them, the rest are going to start moving as well in that positive direction.
But that's, I think, what also gives parents, and I hope that gives people hope that they can make a change. And when they change the diet When they're pushing against this, the structure that's in place, when they make a change, it changes the whole structure.
Yes.
So you're not
Yeah.
relying upon your kid to do something different or your partner to say or do something differently. If you decide to make a change, if you decide that I'm going to respond differently to the situation,
Mhm.
it changes the whole dynamic.
Yes, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. So that brings me to my next question because I'm finding, and we've talked about this, why do you think some parents have a little level of shame when they think about hiring a parent coach? People are fine with the life coach, the health coach, the coach at the gym, the business coach, but I find parent coaching people are a little more,
A little more wary, a
yeah, a little more
little more
wary.
sensitive.
Yeah. Why do you think that
Well,
is?
I think that there's certainly a cohort of people that feel bad about accepting help, and no matter what the realm is. And as Brene Brown says, shame thrives in the dark. So people feel ashamed. I shouldn't need this help. It should
Yeah.
just be automatic. It should just be something that I do. Nobody
Mhm.
else is getting training or nobody else is getting coaching. They actually are.
Yeah.
They're just not letting it be known. But I really think it's a strength to seek out help. It's
I
not a
agree.
weakness. And I think if you realize that something isn't working, if you are just pushing through and white knuckling it and not making any change, I think that in and of itself can be a weakness. And it really
Yeah.
does impact your family in the process. If it is within your means, within your control to say, I need to do something different.
Yeah.
This isn't working. And if instead you decide not to do anything, you don't take action, that I think is the real shame.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I want parents to know that as parent coaches, and I know you agree, is we don't come in and tell the parents what they're doing wrong. And this is what you have to do to fix it. That's not what coaching is about. We tailor it to the
Right.
family.
Absolutely. And I think that, and because one thing doesn't work for every family,
Absolutely not.
I think it's critical to give people not just when your kid says this, do this, some kind of a script. I don't think
Yeah,
that works.
I
Because
agree.
I think when you're in the throes of your child's having a tantrum, you're frustrated, you're flustered. Thinking back to Olivia told me to say this one particular phrase when this happens, you're not going to be able to access that.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
instead, I think what's much more meaningful in the long term, certainly, is having a North Star, having guidance, having thoughts about, okay, what do really want to achieve here? What's truly important?
Exactly. It comes back to setting those family values, right? And every
Right.
family is different, so they're going to have different values. And building on, I think, the parents' strengths. All parents have strengths. And depending on what those are, then
Yeah. But I think when people seek coaching or counseling, I think they feel like they're at their bottom.
mm,
I think they don't realize that they do have those strengths. But I think if you take a strengths-based approach and point out and help them see and recognize that they do have so much to offer, that
yes.
they're not a failure, they're not failing. Instead, that gives them the hope. That gives them that energy to take action. Because again, I think what happens a lot of times is people get stuck.
Yeah.
They get stuck in that sense of what can I do? There's nothing to do, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Yeah.
The die is cast.
Yeah.
And I tell parents, whether I'm working with parents with from toddlers to teens, it's not too late. You
Never
can
is too
choose to
late.
do something today. You can choose to make a change today that will be impactful, that will help your child and your family. So it's never too late.
I agree. Absolutely. And I guess that gets me to the next question is how does coaching really help parents? Because I think I want people watching to really get that understanding of kind of how that coaching relationship works. Because obviously it's different than psychotherapy. We don't have to get into
Mhm.
that. The process of coaching. Do you want to tell us, like, how does that really help with these issues and that feeling of stuckness that parents get into?
Yeah, I think when you give parents that North Star, that sense of, okay, I know what to do no matter what gets thrown at me, that allows them to walk into situations with a sense of confidence and competence.
Yes.
That to me is the ultimate goal of parent coaching. I want
Hmm.
folks to leave coaching and feeling like, I've got this. No matter what
Yes.
my child says or does, I don't have a script per se, but I know how to handle things and I know that I will help them. And I'm not going to take it personally, which I think is key. A lot of parents feel like, why are you doing this to me?
Yes.
As opposed to, my child is having a hard time not giving me a hard time.
So important.
And that simple pivot, I think, is really critical to helping people engage with their child in a way that is constructive, not destructive. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks go to is to use force
Yeah.
and to try to make their child do what they want immediately. when, I guess, as a toddler, you can bodily move your child from one place to the next. But as they get a little older, you can't force them to do things they don't want to do,
That's true.
which is why the coaching is really important, because I think it teaches folks to, the most important lesson is that connection.
Yes.
Without connection, again, if you try to force your child, it'll work maybe in the moment. If you yell at your child, it'll stop them from what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long term, they won't trust you. They will not have that connection with you. And so they will go behind your back.
Yes.
They will tell you what you want to hear to your face, but do something differently behind your
Mhm.
back. It does
Yeah.
create this. I think it's coaching to me really helps parents avoid this very antagonistic way of parenting where it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And maybe, again, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when your child has worked your last nerve, which will happen,
Always does.
unless you've been very thoughtful about what am I going to do as an alternative, you will
Mhm.
revert to what you know. You will utilize those words that you swore you wouldn't say. You will do that
Yep.
thing that you swore you wouldn't do. And so I think it is really, to me, the crux of coaching is really to give people that guidance and that to be able to do the right thing in the moment without having me look over your shoulder to advise, but to
Yes.
have people have that sense of, okay, I've got this.
I've got this. That sense of confidence is huge. It really makes a big difference. And it's different for every family and for every parent, right? What makes someone feel confident and the ways of connection in ways that different parents connect with their child, right? Depending on how the child likes to connect. There is no cookie cutter approach for this. But like you said, I want the same. Work ourselves out of a job. Right? When they're finished coaching with
That's
us,
the goal.
yeah, is you should be feeling good to use your strengths, know your values in your family, and take whatever comes at you, and have that compassion, that self-compassion for yourself as well. That because we are all gonna screw up, right?
We
It's
will
what
mess
we
up. But
do.
again, if you don't acknowledge that and know that I will mess up and that's okay,
Yeah.
because I will make a repair.
Yes.
And my child witnessing this whole process of me making a mistake, me owning up to it, me making a repair, that's what we want our children to do.
Exactly. That's a life
And
skill,
it's a life
right?
skill. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks will frog march their kid to the other child in the playground and say, you're sorry, as if that is going to teach them how to be a good person and not to steal the kid's toy next time around.
Yeah.
It doesn't create actual learning.
Yeah, because these are skills, right? The calming, emotional regulation. They're skills that our kids don't have when they're super young.
No one's born with it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think you learn it by seeing it modeled.
Yes, exactly.
Frankly.
So talk to me a little bit more about the repair situation. There's a lot of talk, a lot of good information out there about how to take these steps to repair. So how do you work with parents when they need to repair situations that
Yeah, I think both for themselves and for the child, when something does happen, being able to say, I made a mistake,
Mhm.
and here's what I'm going to do to fix it. And when you're working with the child, I think that might be saying I'm sorry if that's what the child chooses to do. But having the child come up with, how am I going to make a repair? Maybe I'll draw my sibling a picture.
Yeah.
Maybe I will set the table for them or put their dishes in the sink for them or do something kind as a
Mhm.
way to make up for that infraction.
Yeah.
I think the same thing works as a parent. I think you say to your child, you own up. And I don't think it has to necessarily be right in the moment. If you're all fired up, if
Yeah.
you got adrenaline and cortisol and you're about to lose it, stepping back and saying, let's have a conversation about this when I'm calm.
Yes.
Let's talk about this after dinner or tomorrow morning or in a half hour or 5 minutes, whatever it happens to be.
Mhm.
But being able to have the presence of mind to say, I'm going to take care of myself so that I can come back into the situation and figure out how to make it better.
Yes.
As opposed to, and I think some parents feel like I need to figure it out in the moment.
And
Or I need to as well discipline my child in the moment. As if the teaching moment is going to evaporate and they're never going to see their child again. And I
yeah.
say, you know where your child lives. If you do need to
Absolutely.
teach a lesson or you do need to make a repair, it doesn't have to be right that instant. You can wait until you're both more receptive.
Absolutely.
Both more able to handle and to receive that apology or that repair in a way that is actually meaningful.
Absolutely. That's so important. Because when we're dysregulated, children and adults, there's a part of our brain, that prefrontal cortex, that is
Shuts down.
not working,
Yep.
shuts down. Nobody can hear. I've been in classrooms. I've had to say to administrators with a behavior child in the school, and I'd had to say to them, stop talking, just stop talking. They're not hearing you. And it's the same for us adults. So it's such a good strategy to just take those deep breaths, take that time, however much time you need. Because like you say, we know where the kids are. It's never too late to make a repair and to admit that, hey, I let my emotions get the best of me in this situation. And how can I help make this better? How can I repair this situation?
Yeah. And even in the moment, if it's just something that you said that didn't come out right, let me say it again.
Yeah. Let me do a do-over.
Let me have a do-over.
Yeah.
Kids like that. It's a simple way to demonstrate that, again, we make mistakes. That's okay. And I'm working to be a better person, and I'm working to be a better parent. And it doesn't mean I'm failing.
Exactly.
It just means I'm human.
Because if we never made mistakes, really, Olivia, how would we ever learn anything? I mean, we wouldn't. We have to really look at those mistakes as learning experiences, time to learn a skill, time to pivot, change direction, because you have to know what's not working in order to really hone what is working.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is contrast, right? In life, we have the black.
But I also think that that's why I say that knowing what not to do.
Yeah.
Is very valuable information too.
Yes.
And drawing that contrast between, again, I know what it was like to be on the receiving end of that thing that my mom did to me. I know how bad that felt. I know how that didn't teach me a lesson. It just got me upset at her or thinking about how unfair it was what she said or did. Same thing happens with your child. But how do you do something different? Again, if you don't think about this ahead of time, if you don't plan for it, if you're not thoughtful, you're going to be caught flat-footed.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a big part of it. When people get married, they plan the wedding. But how many people plan the actual relationship, right? Same with having a child. Everybody gets the baby's room ready and takes the prenatal breathing classes and buys all the cool things. But it's also important to have those conversations. Okay, what are our values? How do we want to raise this child? And it makes it a little more tricky because it's constantly changing, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the challenges of parenting is that as soon as you figure it out, your child changes.
Yep. Oh, man. And do they ever change fast?
They're in a different phase. They're in a different stage. But I think it's also reassuring to know that it is all a phase.
Yes.
If you're having a challenge, this will end. Your child will sleep through the night.
Yeah.
They will walk and talk and do all the things. It's a matter of time. But I think it's incumbent upon us as coaches. How do we help them get from here to there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do that in a gentle way that based on their strengths and not, like I often say, I tell parents that are thinking about, I'm not super nanny. I'm not coming into your house and telling you everything bad that you're doing wrong, or that's not how this process works. I think a big piece of our coaching too is when you're in the depths of like overwhelm and there's just some things that you're not able to see about a situation. And I think
you're too close. You're too close into it. And so you really need somebody to help you zoom out.
Yeah.
Or to see things from a different perspective to allow you to be able to respond differently.
Yeah. It's really, and that's basically what we are, like, is thinking partners, right? And I'm sure you do the same. The solutions typically come from the parents after we've helped them zoom out and look at a different perspective and identify their values and their strengths. I know with my clients, they come up with a solution. So it's not us telling parents what to do. And that's really a big message I want to get out there, right? We're just helping them figure out what's best for them.
Yeah, but I think that's respectful of where people are. It's not me parachuting in and saying, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, do this differently.
Yeah.
That's why I liken it more to we're rolling up our sleeves and we're working together. We're shoulder to shoulder. We're in this and we're going to work so that you do have that confidence, that competence. So you do know how to handle these things. And as you said, very oftentimes people come up with solutions that are workable for their families. They know their kids best.
That's right. They're the experts.
They are the experts in their child.
And every one of them is different. So they have to be double experts or triple experts, right? Yeah, but it's a transformative process. And I really hope more parents reach out to get the help that they need, because we're in this job for most of our lives. Why wouldn't you want to have more confidence and feel good about how your day-to-day life is happening, right?
Yeah. You want to learn how to play tennis, you find a coach to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to learn how to cook, you take lessons.
Yeah,
Or you read up about it, or you take action. It just doesn't just come to you naturally.
it's
So I
true.
think assuming that somehow parenting is just something innate, there's something you just know how to do, I don't think is very realistic.
I agree. I agree. Awesome. I love it. So, Olivia, let's get to the next important piece that really is, I would say, the biggest hinge for parents is self-care. Why is it so important? And what does it really entail? Right? It's not just the bubble bath.
It's not, or the wine o'clock, right?
Yeah.
I like to tell folks self-care is not selfish.
Mm,
It's necessary. And if you don't have enough of it, you're going to hit a wall.
yeah.
I can pretty much guarantee that. And I think modeling to your child that it's okay to be a martyr is
Mm,
not ultimately helpful for them.
no,
If they feel like there's so much pressure, mom is knocking herself out for me, does nothing for herself, that's a lot of pressure to put on a child.
it's true.
Frankly. So instead, I really encourage folks to figure out who, the what, and the where.
Mm,
So who fills you up? Who makes you feel good? Who do you snort when you laugh with?
yeah.
Who just makes you feel good when you're around them?
That's self-care.
That
Being
is
with people
self-care.
that make you feel good.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
like full stop. So notably too, none of these things are flying to Fiji or
No,
doing something outrageous or expensive. It's really small things, but small things that you can do often. So that is another takeaway I hope that folks get, that you don't have to have piles of money or vast resources. It's not terribly labor intensive. And the
yeah,
benefits, if you do put these kind of tiny moments of self-care in place, are huge. The benefits are enormous.
they absolutely.
And then there's the who and there's the what. What activities light you up? What makes you lose track of time?
Love that.
What do you get into when you're in the flow and it's just something that you just love to do, that if nobody were watching you, you would do this all the time?
I love that.
What is that? What is that thing?
Parents, and I know myself when I was parenting my kids as a single mother, I did not do that. Did not. I know I have a passion to dance, always have, and didn't make the time to do that other than a quick little dance in the kitchen with the kids. But I was formally trained, and that is one of my passions.
Mhm.
And I let that go. And that was a part of me. And I think it's important that parents find that passion. And I'm really so glad you brought that up, Olivia, because I think when people hear self-care, they don't think of that. Do you know what I mean? They don't
Yeah.
think of that passion that maybe they love to build trains or whatever it is. They love to paint and if you don't know what you love to do, sit back and ha- reach back in your memory. What did you love to do as a child?
I
Right?
ask people, what did the little version of you love to do?
Mhm.
What lit them up?
Yeah.
Maybe it was art, maybe it was being outside or a sport or an activity or whatever it is. Obviously, that's different for everybody, but what is it that makes you feel good?
Yes.
And so I think that giving yourself permission to do this is key as well. Yeah, and
Yes.
then figuring out, where do I do these things? Where do I go where my shoulders just drop? Where I feel at peace, I feel at ease, I feel most myself.
Yes.
Maybe that's a place where there's no traffic noise, or maybe that's a park or a beach or a corner of your house
Yeah, exactly.
or a garden
Tree in the
center.
backyard.
Yeah,
Yep.
the indoor plant center section of the garden center.
Yeah.
Wherever you go to feel that sense of calm and peace. How do you budget the time to be able to do that more often?
Yes.
How
And
do
it
you
yeah.
open up your calendar and say, okay, these are the things that I've got my list of things that make me feel good, the people I like to do them with, or when alone, or the people that make me feel good, places that make me feel good. Where am I going to budget the time? Where can I spend 5 or 10 or 15 minutes in my week to do this?
Yes.
I guarantee you have 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No
You probably have
question.
10 or 15 minutes.
Yep.
But I think being intentional about it and saying, okay, I'm going to put this on my calendar. I'm going to set the calendar for repeat every week.
Yep.
This is my intention, and I'm going to follow through on this. You can pretty
Yes.
much guarantee that you're going to feel better.
Absolutely.
Small thing, right? This is not, again, terribly labor intensive. It's something that you like to do. Makes you feel good at the end. But getting that push, getting over the hump to be able to actually take action, that can be a challenge. But I do think that once you get the ball rolling, it feels so good, you're going to want to keep doing it.
That's right. You see the benefits of it. And I like what you said. So many of us, and I did this too, mom the martyr. oh, I don't have time to do this because I should be doing more for my kids, with my kids. The mom guilt creeps in, all of this stuff. But what I realized is our kids are watching us.
Yes.
And so when we do take care of ourselves, and with the what and the where and the how and the who, then our kids are seeing that. And we're showing them that we value ourselves. And isn't that what we want our kids to do? We want our kids to value themselves as well, right?
We want them to be able to prioritize their own needs. Again, that's not selfish. It's not that you're excluding other people's needs in that process,
No.
but you're taking care of yourself in tandem.
Yes.
And that, I think, is, again, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people?
You can't. And everybody says that. But it really, it is the most important thing, because if you're lit up just by 5 minutes a day of doing something that you love, then when the big tantrums hit, or the traffic jam hits, or dinner burns on the stove hits, you're much more likely to be able to come back to a regulated center of, okay, moving along. This is
To
the
bounce
next
back,
thing.
to know that, is this a big deal or a little deal?
Yeah.
That's what I used to ask my kids when they were little. This thing that feels so big in the moment, okay, if I really stop and reflect, is burning dinner the worst thing that could ever happen? No.
Yeah.
Is it annoying? Yes. But I'm going to pick up the phone and call for a pizza.
Yeah.
Problem solved. It's not devastating. It's not the end of the world. And I think if you can show your kids that you can bounce back, that you can handle difficulties, you can handle challenges, they will too.
Exactly. And by taking care of yourself, you're more easily able to take care of those challenges. Because if you're not taking care of yourself at all, and I've been here too, the cortisol, like you're just at 150 miles an hour, it's hard to get. You're spinning. You can't get out of it and then you're triggered much more easily than if you take that time.
So you're not being the best you can be.
Exactly. And we want to be the best we can be for our kids. And I think I'm at a stage in my parenting now where my children are much older. And so when they're off doing their own thing, because I didn't take enough time to take care of myself and hone my own interests, and I did spend some time with friends and things, but I didn't do that. So that when they're off doing their thing, here's me. I didn't even know what I wanted to eat, Olivia, at one point, right? Because my whole psyche, my whole life, every action I took was for them or with them, or...
Well, that's why parents often feel, and moms in particular, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I just a mom? And I think it is important to cultivate those other aspects of our personality, our other relationships, because our kids will not be there forever, as you see. Mm-hmm. They do get grown up. They do move out of the house, hopefully, at some point. Yeah. But if you haven't cultivated your own sense of self in tandem, in parallel, then you feel lost. You get to a point where you start to question, now what?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. I really hope parents that are listening, take care of yourself. I'd like to stop calling it self-care, because I think the word is overused and people think of the manicures and the pedicures and dad just playing golf, or it's so much more than that. Which are nice things too.
Those are fun.
Wonderful.
Those are great things.
They're absolutely.
But it's not the end all be all. There's a lot more to it. The deeper and more profound.
Yeah, and you can't fit that in every day, right?
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes
can, but...
but 5 minutes of checking in and doing a body scan and just relaxing yourself, taking those deep breaths, that you can do.
Absolutely. Relax the shoulders. I used to have rocks in my neck, literally. Yeah, all those little things. It's about figuring out what you need, and then you can be the best for your kids. So absolutely. I love that. Thank you, Olivia. I think they'll get it. So next up, I wanted to talk about the framework that you created, that you use with parents. Obviously, every parent's different, every family's different, but I really just love the overarching idea of your framework, and I'd like you to share that with our listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I developed a program called Be a Calm Mom. And that really emerged from my work with parents, and moms in particular, obviously, who were just struggling with this sense of stress and anxiety and failure. And they just felt like they were on the hamster wheel. And they just couldn't stop spinning. So this is a program that's very comprehensive, and it's really designed to get you to feel better and give you the skills quickly. So it's a 16-week program. You get access to short videos on different themes every week: self-care, self-regulation, connection, repairs, and then putting it all together. Yeah. So that saves you time. You can watch they're short videos. That really what allows you to watch it at your own pace, at a time that works for you, before the kids are up for the day and after they go to bed or whatever, what works for you. But it saves us time in sessions so that we can look at how do you apply that to your life?
Yes.
How do you make this work for your family and for you? And how do you take the skills, the strategies, and apply that to what's going on with you? So we meet biweekly, and then folks get a couple bonus sessions, a couple little emergency sessions, I call them, in case things are going south or they need a little extra boost. They want to dive into something that's happening. Either something happened with their kids and they weren't sure what to do, or they want to go deeper on a certain topic. We do that as well. But it's really about giving folks the skills, and as you said, like working yourself out of a job.
Yep.
So that people feel that confidence to be able to create the family that they wanted,
Yes.
to be the mom that they wanted to be, that they dreamed of, that maybe right now feels unattainable or feels out of reach, or they haven't been able to pull that off as often as they want. But it's really allows you to look at, what am I bringing to the situation? What can I do to change?
Yes.
Like I said before, in this structure, if you shift, the whole thing changes.
It does. And sometimes just small shifts. I've
Right.
seen it with my clients, just small shifts that can
But
really
the idea
make a
too,
huge difference.
it's not to give people Band-Aids. It's not a
Oh,
quick
no.
fix.
No.
But it's
it
really,
isn't.
I think once you're on the right track, you'll see improvements that will occur quickly. But it's really generational change.
Absolutely.
It's really a sense that if you can learn to do something different, if you can change the old habits that your parents gave to you about how to parent, that you're likely using right now, because that's what you can show your child how to parent differently.
Yes.
You can change the whole dynamic, and you can make parenting enjoyable again. Forgive me.
Yeah.
So that this impact of the future generations, I think, is something that as parent coaches, I think that we're in alignment about. We want to have people create families that function, that work well together, that they feel good about, that they feel happy in, instead of stressed out about, or feeling I'm letting people down, or I'm not doing this right, or I'm constantly fighting with my partner and fighting with my kids, and home is just a place of tension and stress. No, but you want it to be a place of warmth and laughter and connection.
Laughter. Yes.
And that, to me, is my most profound wish for the clients that I work with, is to create that kind of an environment, that kind of a family. So that's the goal.
It is. And I think that's the goal for all of us in this business, because we know that's how we'll change the world. Relationships, and especially, are first and foremost cultivated within our families. And then we take those, how we've learned in our families, out into the world. I know we both see how exponentially we're just helping one family at a time, but then their children and their families and friends, and it grows. And to have everybody just living in joy in their family and feeling seen, feeling respected, having fun, enjoying time with each other. And at the same time,
I think parenting is hard enough.
Yeah.
It's just even under the best of circumstances. But I think if it becomes joyless and drudgery, and it just feels like this is just too hard and there's nothing I can do to make it better.
Yeah.
That, I think, is needless suffering.
It is. And it's difficult for the kids too, right?
They feel
pay a
price.
That they do, no matter what age they are, they feel it, right? And it affects how their self-esteem.
And it affects their behavior.
Oh yeah. So
they're not going to behave. They're not going to behave. They will seek attention from you, and all attention is good attention.
Yeah.
So I think you can expect your kids to be more difficult, to dig in their heels, to act out, because they don't feel that there's that connection, that warmth, that desire to please our parents. That is important to get them to do what we're asking them to do.
Yeah.
Because it's just, why bother?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, I think we are doing the most important work in the world. I was a school teacher for 30 years, also very important work.
Extremely.
Loved it, but really wanted to help parents now. It just naturally morphed into. I helped all these wonderful, amazing kids, love them all. They were all my kids, but your parents are struggling, especially today's day and age. And so any parents that are listening, reach out to Olivia, reach out to me, reach out to whoever else you hear on this little podcast that you connect with, because that's really what we're here to do. And we are very passionate about it. So Olivia, I didn't tell you, but I have a few questions I ask all my guests at the end that are just meant to be organic and fun. The first one is, what is your definition of a fulfilled life?
Oh, that's a big one.
Everybody does this. I'm seriously going to do a reel of everybody's reaction when I ask that question, because it's exactly the same. It's so cool. Everybody takes a deep breath and goes, It's amazing.
What's the meaning of life?
That's right.
I mean, to me, a fulfilled life is one that you can look back on and feel proud of
Mm, yeah.
and feel I feel good about my relationships. I feel good about what I'm leaving behind.
Yes.
I was able to make that connection with my friends and family.
Mm,
That is really the most valuable thing. I think that is our legacy.
that is absolutely our legacy. I agree. I love it. I love it. Okay, so how will you know you did a good job raising your children?
I've got 3 teenagers right now, so
So you don't know yet.
I don't know quite yet, but I have an
Oh, no,
idea.
that'll be fine.
I have an inkling. I have an inkling.
Yeah.
I think if they can continue to be the good people that they are, if I can witness them making good choices, whatever that means for them.
Yes.
I think if they're thoughtful, if they're kind,
Hmm.
that to me equates success.
Absolutely.
And it's not a dollar amount or a job or
Mm,
anything
no.
external in that way, but it's really about how are they raising their own families?
Yeah.
If they choose to have one, are they good people?
Yeah.
Are they kind and
Absolutely.
caring and people that look out for others? And those to me are the benchmarks.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It has nothing to do with the jobs. I told my kids, I said, I don't care if you go to university, you don't like like I want you to be happy. I want you to be authentic. I want you to be kind, good person. That
Right.
really is that's what's most important. Have good relationships with people. All right. So we all have challenging times. So what is something you tell yourself when you hit one of those challenging times, right? Whether in the moment or do you have a little tip or trick?
Yeah, I think it's important to reflect back and know that, mm, as I said earlier, everything is a phase.
Mm,
I think if I'm able to zoom out and look at the big picture, chances are this isn't as devastating or serious or impossible to
yeah.
resolve as it feels in this moment.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think allowing myself to have that moment, I'm not just glossing over it and saying, okay, don't feel this way. And then telling
No.
myself not to feel this way, that doesn't help. But I do think it's okay to say, all right, I'm feeling really frustrated or sad or upset or what have you about the situation. What can I do about it?
Yeah.
What action can I take to make things better? Even if it's just on the margins.
Yeah.
I think it's incumbent upon me, and I hopefully I like to show this to my clients as well, is not getting stuck in the problem, but switching to problem solving.
Yes.
And
Solution focus.
that gives you the power. That makes you feel like, okay, I have agency.
That's right.
That is something you can control. Bad things happen to us. They've happened to me. They've happened to you, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff happens. That's out of my control. What is
Mhm.
in my control is how do I manage that?
That's right.
How do I respond to that? React is a different situation. Our
Yes.
initial reaction is going to be what it is. We don't have control over that. But we do control how do I respond to the situation?
That's right.
And I think if you can step out of that again, the muddy problem patch, I call it, and
Yeah.
walk around it and look for how am I going to get around this? How do I find a solution, a way through, a way forward?
Mhm. Yeah.
That I think is powerful. And that I think makes things better because at least you're taking action. You're doing something
Yeah.
as opposed to just getting stuck.
That's right. Absolutely. And taking that time to respond. So you might need a timeout for a minute
Mhm.
yourself to just before you get into the problem to the solution mode, I call it, or problem
Mhm.
solving mode. But it's important to feel those feelings. Like you say, that's huge to not gloss them over, not push them down, because for generations, that's what we were taught to do, right?
And they don't go
So,
away. I think pushing them down does not make them go away. They just
no,
pop up at other times.
exactly, exactly. And I think our work, and I think the generation of kids coming up, they get that, right?
Yeah.
That it's okay to feel our feelings because they're not who we are. They're just energy and motion
They're not
coming
dangerous.
through. They're not dangerous. No, exactly. Okay, so one of my second last question. What is the most important thing you want listeners to take away from our conversation? There's so much, right? So one or two things that if you could, I'd like to phrase it like this. If you could shout it from a rooftop, like a big message that you really want people to hear, what would that be?
I think it's the importance of connection, not losing sight of that and trying to what's ultimately most important. Again, that kind of end of the life, reflecting back on your life. The
Mm-hmm.
question is what's most important is how do you connect with folks? How do you create those relationships?
Yes. Yes.
And so not focusing on the stuff, like I said, or the benchmarks that are financial or otherwise.
Yeah.
I think really counting your blessings, looking for ways to connect and really putting effort in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I lost my parents when they were 50 and 52.
Young.
And I was only in my 20s. And I learned that lesson young, that I remember saying to my priest, and afterwards I said, the most important thing in life is your relationships with people. Nothing else matters.
Right.
And
Yeah, on your deathbed, you're not looking back and saying, I had this many cars, this many houses, or this.
yeah, none of that.
You're looking at what were the relationships I had with people.
That's right. That's right. And how valuable they were. And that's why I love what we do, because we're helping people make those relationships even better than they are right now.
Truly.
For sure. Okay. So lastly, Olivia, where can people find you? We'll have all
All
the
right.
links in the description. Don't worry. So you don't have to remember everything perfectly. I have your links. They'll be in the description. So
Excellent. If you want to look for Mommy Groove, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I've got a website. So you will find me there if you pop that into Google. So the best place to meet me is actually any one of those. But my website is a good way to reach me because you can just send me a message there. But if you want to message me on, like I said, Facebook or Instagram, you're absolutely welcome to do that. I'm also on TikTok. I've got a series of videos on TikTok about parenting.
Nice.
I think I'm over like 100 videos right now. So if you want to pop in there and see me, you're more than invited.
Well, that's amazing. I haven't broached the TikTok world yet.
It's a whole other animal.
I know. Listen, I'm lucky I can post stuff on Instagram at this point, Olivia. Like, I'm just.
I hear you.
Anyway, but it's okay. That's why I thought I'd just start with YouTube and we'll just move along from there. Move along with there. And I just love having these conversations. So thank you so much for being with me today, Olivia. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing. And hopefully we'll see each other again soon.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
No problem. Take care. Bye, everyone. So glad you're still here. You do not suck as a parent. But I want you to know about something that we've created. The coaches and the experts that you see in this show, we've gotten together and we've created a community. It's called the Powerful Parenting Collective, where you as a parent can enter our group and have access to many of the experts that you see on the show, to private message them, to have a quick little video chat before you decide to hire them to help you in your parenting journey. Or maybe you decide not to do that. I want you to think about a community that is supportive, that will have events for you, free workshops, free information, and a place where you can really connect with the different experts that you've seen on this show. So click the link below and join us. Basically, think of it like a shopping mall for parents. We hope to see you there.